Hi everybody, welcome back. Brad from bradnewton.tv. I just want to really summarize what we talked about when it comes to how much muscle you can naturally build over the lifetime of lifting weights in the gym. And it's important. It's important to realize that based on thousands of people that we've looked at, like that, Alan's looked at or Lyle McDonald's looked at, there's been multiple formulas and that kind of thing, like the butt formula, which we won't really, I don't think we'll talk about that. I might do a video on that one later on. But the two models that we've talked about, Lyle McDonald, Alan Aragon, based on thousands of people that are not taking steroids, that have great physiques, it's found that over the lifetime of lifting, that you guys out there watching this should you shouldn't expect to build any more than about 40 pounds of muscle over your entire lifting career, your entire fitness journey. And by the way, like you're going to be a completely different person with 20 pounds of muscle, let alone 40 pounds of muscle. And for ladies watching this, it's going to be half that approximately half. So, and if you're thinking, well, I don't want to be like a bodybuilding woman, I don't want to be chunky, and it's not going to happen. Like you're going to lift heavy weights just like a guy does. You have to. Remember, building muscle, we'll talk about this as we go through the video series. To build muscle, you need to overload your muscles. You need to lift heavy weights consistently. That's how you stimulate muscle growth. That's one way of stimulating muscle growth. And in terms of like building muscle size, you need to build strength. You need to build strength. And by the way, we'll talk about the science of this later on. When you build strength, you also build muscle, right? The two go together. And that's shown in science as well, not just me making it up. And that's proven through bodybuilders over the years. But anyway, we'll talk about that later. So for ladies watching this, you don't be concerned about packing on muscle. You need muscle to look great, to have toned arms, toned legs, toned butt, toned whatever. You need to have muscle. You need to have muscle on your frame. And you'd be surprised how much your physique will change dramatically just by adding an extra 10 pounds of muscle to your frame and then bringing your body fat percentage down to about like less than 20%, like maybe 16%. It's going to, there's no hard number, there's no exact number, but usually for women, keep this in mind. If your body fat percentages are below like 20%, with an extra 10 pounds of muscle or so, your physique is going to look like you're going to look incredibly different, like incredibly different. Take my word for it. And for guys, it's going to be, it's going to be double that. It's going to be about 20 pounds of muscle. Like you're going to look completely different. And you saw the photo. If you go to my website, you'll see that same photograph. It looked completely different to how I looked, years ago without the muscle, and I was a skinny fat guy. So ultimately, I talk about genetic testing in another video, but ultimately the science behind, predicting how much muscle you can grow based on doing genetic testing is quite limited. There are tests you can get done based on your genetics, and it can predict, this is how much muscle you can grow. Of course, genetics do play a role in like, we talk about genetics in another video, don't worry, because we look at our favorite role models and go, I want a physique like that. I want a body like that. And I did this when I wanted for me, I wanted Ryan Reynolds' body. I was like, I want a body like Ryan Reynolds. That was my thing. But then, I have a body that's better than Ryan Reynolds now, in my opinion, in my opinion, but it still looks different because our genetics are different. Everyone has different genetics. So therefore, your role model, like when you follow this program and you do the meal planning thing, right? Remember, you do those things together. When you start building muscle, it's going to be different to how your role model's body looks because genetics play a role in like where muscles are inserted into the bone, like how muscles are shaped and formed. Like, but here's the thing, you can still build a great physique based on your genetics. That's what's really cool. That's what's really cool. You have the genetic potential to build a great physique. Everybody does. Everybody does. That's what's really exciting. So for men and women, that's what you should expect. You follow those steps I talked about before. And for girls, don't worry, you're not going to get big, chunky, and bulky and that crazy rubbish. Like, if you're taking steroids, it's a different story. And that's what you're thinking. You're thinking, I don't want to be like that woman on the stage that has big shoulders. Yeah, but she's taking steroids. Like, she's bigger than me. Like, a woman that has 1/16 the amount of testosterone as a male, that's natural for natural. So natural woman for natural man, 1/16 the amount of testosterone. If she's taking steroids and she's bigger than me, then don't you worry because you're not going to be, unless you're taking steroids, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So that is it. If you have any questions, please reach out to me, brad@bradnewton.tv. Oh, yes, I want to mention your age. If you're watching this and you're like in your 40s and 50s and 60s, don't worry. You can still build a great physique. You may not be able to build as much muscle as this, like 20, 40 pounds over the lifetime. It might be 30 pounds. But the point is, like, there was a guy that I competed with. I'm trying to think of his, if I got him on Facebook or not. He's definitely on my Instagram. And this guy's like in his 50s and he has an incredible physique. And like we all competed together. Like he was in a different division and different category and whatever. But because I did the world titles like only a few weeks ago and I was competing with these people. And I competed with a lady, like not like she was in a different division, obviously, but she's like in her 70s and she's like world number one because she was the only person in her category to compete. And she's like in her 70s and she's lifting weights and she has an incredible physique in her 70s. And I couldn't believe it. She's been on TV, she's been on like radio stations and that kind of thing. And I had a chat to her and I was really inspired by her story. She started lifting weights, and I wish I had a profile and I could show you a little case study on her. But she started lifting weights when she was like 54 years old. I was like, 54? Most people think it's too late when they like 35. They're like, oh, I'm not 20. Oh, like easy for you to get ripped and lean. I'm not 22 anymore. Well, that's horse crap because there are guys that I compete with in like their 30s and 40s and they have better physiques than me. I'm like a 32-year-old chicken, right? If you're watching this and you're a 52-year-old guy or you're a 54-year-old woman, then I mean, I'm going to find some case studies for you to give you that boost that you need because you probably feel like it's too late. It's not too late. It's not too late. I compete with these people. They have incredible physiques, and you're like, man, like 54, like not bad to start lifting weights at 54, and then you're 70 something years old, and you're doing the world titles at 70 something years of age. Anyway, that is it, my friends. I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in another video.